as I am to learn more about our country becoming a new nation? Because I am. Today's lesson is called Building a Nation with Words and Ideas. Before we can get into it, though, what do we have to do? You guys are so smart. We've got a review. All right. What kinds of things did Benjamin Franklin include in his Poor Richard's Almanac? He had stories and poems, as well as puzzles, jokes, lots of advice, and many wise sayings. He also had what time the sun was going to set and rise. How would you describe Benjamin Franklin other than awesome? He was wise. He was an inventor and a painter. He was a founding father. And he was a representative of the colonies. Name some of the things that Benjamin Franklin invented. Wooden swimming flippers, bifocal glasses, the Franklin stove, lightning rod, rocking chair. Pretty cool, right? How do we know that Benjamin Franklin was well liked and admired? He had one of the biggest funerals ever attended at the time, remember? And people rang bells and the flags flew at half-mast as signs of respect and honor for him. Can you name the saying that we learned that Franklin used to say? Never leave until tomorrow what you can do today. All right, so today we're going to learn some more about Thomas Jefferson and his home, Monticello. Jefferson is called the father of American architecture. I want you to say that word with me. Say architecture with me. We're going to say it 3 times. Are you ready? Architecture. 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 Okay, what does that word mean? What does it mean? Architecture is the design and construction of buildings, okay? I want you to look out the window, okay? And I want you to look at the buildings around you. These buildings probably have some different styles of architecture, right? Because not all of those buildings are going to look the exact same. They might look similar, but they're not all going to look the exact same, okay? So, Thomas Jefferson loved architecture so much that he designed his own home, which is called Monticello. And he also worked on the design of our nation's capital and my home, Washington, D.C. Okay, Thomas Jefferson is remembered as the author of the Declaration of Independence. He is also remembered for other reasons. Listen carefully to learn about Thomas Jefferson's contributions. Uh-oh, guys. Hang on a second. Are you telling me that Thomas Jefferson might possibly be as cool as George Washington and Benjamin Franklin? Because if you are, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think we're going to have to channel our inner Benjamin Franklin and work together to invent a time machine so that we can go back in time and meet these people. Because, I mean, honestly, they're way too cool, and they did so many cool and awesome things for our country that I think we just have to meet them. Are you guys in for the challenge? Are you going to help me build a time machine? You better start working on your sketches today. I'm going to start working on my sketches today, too. All right, let's figure out if Thomas Jefferson is anywhere near as cool as the other 2 men that we learned about so far. Let's get started. Benjamin Franklin enjoyed the company of another patriot, Thomas Jefferson from Virginia. Jefferson was often the youngest person in the room when the founders met in Philadelphia, whereas Franklin was often the oldest. Like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson was always ready to serve his country, but the place he loved to be most was at home with his family. What kind of saying might you have heard that Thomas Jefferson might have felt or used in talking about his home? Have you ever heard of the saying, "There's no place like home"? Do you think that maybe Thomas Jefferson might have used that when talking about his home? Maybe. This is Jefferson's home, his favorite place to spend time, and it is called Monticello. Now, I have also been to Monticello, and it is beautiful. They have a whole bunch of land and gardens, and it's really pretty. I will find resources so maybe you can do a virtual tour like you got to do for Mount Vernon, okay? When Thomas Jefferson was a young lawyer, he started building a house close to the farm where he grew up in Virginia. Built on a hill, he named it Monticello, which means little mountain in Italian. He worked on it for many years, before, during, and after the war. This picture shows a picture of present-day Monticello. So this is what it looks like if you were to go now. If you were to go today to Monticello, this is what it would look like. Jefferson traveled in Europe and brought back many ideas from France and Italy. Because of Monticello and some other buildings he designed, Jefferson is called the father of American architecture. Remember, architecture refers to the design of buildings or the way that buildings look. In fact, Jefferson was one of the people who worked on the design of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Like Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson liked to invent things. For his house, he invented a pulley system that opened doors and a mechanical clock to keep track of the days of the week. He also invented a dumbwaiter, a shelf that could be piled high with food dishes raised from the kitchen downstairs up to the dining room, then lowered back down with the empty dishes when the meal was over. Thomas Jefferson was one of the most important writers in the colonies. Remember, he was the author of the Declaration of Independence. Because he wrote so many important letters and papers, he wanted to be able to make copies of them for himself. So, Jefferson bought a copy machine from his friend Charles Willson Peale. It was one of the first copy machines ever made. As Jefferson wrote at his desk, a second pen was automatically writing the same thing beside him. So, he would be writing, he'd put the paper here, and he'd put more paper here, right? So he would be holding this pencil. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize my pointer was going, or wasn't going. So there's a pencil here, and there's a pencil here, okay? So back then they wouldn't have pencils. They would have those pens, remember? But he would have his paper here, and his pen here, and another pen here, and another piece of paper here. He would hold on to this pen and write on this piece of paper, and as he was doing that, this machine would have this pen writing exactly what Jefferson was writing over here. It would be writing right here on its own, well, through the machine. So he could continue his work away from home. Thomas Jefferson So he could continue his work away from home. Thomas Jefferson invented a lap desk that he could carry with him on horseback so that he could hold all of his paperwork and office tools. This is similar to carrying a backpack or using a laptop computer. After the Constitutional Convention and the election of George Washington as the country's first president, Thomas Jefferson returned to Virginia to work on Monticello. When he was not at Monticello, often he was off representing his country, sharing his ideas both in America and in Europe. George Washington served as president of the United States for 8 years. When he retired to Mount Vernon, another one of the founding fathers named John Adams took his place, becoming America's second president. Thomas Jefferson became John Adams' vice president. A vice president is someone who is second in command to the president. 4 years later, Thomas Jefferson became our nation's third president. In the 8 years that he was president, he did many things that helped the young nation grow. One of the things that Thomas Jefferson believed in most was public education. He realized how fortunate he had been having the chance to attend excellent schools all his life. But he knew that not everybody could afford to do so. Perhaps Jefferson's greatest project was planning for a public college in his state of Virginia. A public school is one that is funded or paid for with the people's tax money. A college or university is a place to continue studying after high school. He designed the buildings, chose the subjects to be taught, and raised money to build the University of Virginia. The university was built on a friend's farm just down the hill from Monticello so that Jefferson could watch it being built. All right, so look at this. This is a picture of the University of Virginia. My aunt actually graduated from the University of Virginia, and that is why I got to see Monticello. So I want you to look at this picture of the University of Virginia. And now we're going to go back. Here's Monticello. Do you notice anything? Do they look similar at all? I want you to think about that. This picture of Monticello and this picture of the University of Virginia. I see some similarities. Thomas Jefferson died on the afternoon of July 4th, 1826, just hours before the death of his friend John Adams. The second and third presidents of the United States died on the 15th anniversary of Independence Day. An anniversary is celebrated every year like your birthday. Your birthday is the anniversary of your birth. So, Jefferson died 50 years to the day after the signing of the Declaration of Independence. All right, guys, when I read that sentence, I said 15th originally, but it's the 50th. I just messed up when I was reading. I'm sorry. All right. Like George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson is remembered in many ways today. Some of your nickels, or 5-cent coins, have a picture of Jefferson on one side of them and a picture of a domed building on the other. All right. Look at this side of the coin, okay? You see that domed part? You see this part right here? That's like kind of a half circle. That's called a dome, okay? This is Thomas Jefferson. And look at this picture really quick. Look at that building. What building is that? That's right. It's his beloved Monticello. So even today, Thomas Jefferson is never far from his beautiful home, Monticello. Okay? All right. Let's see. Question time. Did Thomas Jefferson do these things? I'm going to give you some things, and if he did them, you're going to give me a yes, and if he did not do them, you're going to give me a no. So, did he help design Washington, D.C. and his own home, Monticello? Yes. Did he lead the Continental Army? No! George Washington led the Continental Army. Did he found the University of Virginia? Yeah, he did. Did he serve as President of the United States? Yes, he did. He was our third president. All right. What important job did Thomas Jefferson have that George Washington also had some years before him? Yeah, he was president of the United States. All right, Jefferson is called the father of American architecture. What did he design? He helped design Washington, D.C., and he designed his home, and he designed a university, the University of Virginia. You learned that both George Washington and Thomas Jefferson are pictured on some United States money. Do you think that money is a good place to put the faces of people we want to remember? Why or why not? I think so. I think so because you use money a lot, right? But you can have a different opinion. That's okay. I want you to describe one of Thomas Jefferson's inventions, or tell me one of his inventions. The dumbwaiter pulley system for doors, a lap desk, and a mechanical clock. All right. Why was public or free education important to Thomas Jefferson? Because he thought education was very important, and I think he's right. What do you think? Do you think education's important? All of you better be saying yes right now, or I'm going to come get you. Regardless of how much money people have, Thomas Jefferson believes that they should be able to be educated, that they should be able to learn. And I agree with that. All right, what is the most interesting thing that you learned about Thomas Jefferson? Your answer can be different than mine. All right, guys, I think that the most interesting thing that I learned about him was that education was such a big deal to him. That might just be because I'm a teacher, but I think that education is important. So, thank you, Thomas Jefferson. All right, word work time. In the read aloud, you heard the second and third presidents of the United States of America died on the 50th anniversary of Independence Day. I want you to say the word anniversary with me. You can say it like a mouse, in a whisper voice, in a monster voice. Go ahead and say it. Anniversary. 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 An anniversary is an important date that you remember on the same day each year. My parents went out to dinner last night to celebrate their wedding anniversary. I want you to think of an anniversary, a date that you or a friend or a family member remembers in some way every year on the same day. Try to use the word anniversary when you tell about it. Go ahead. Okay. What's that word we've been talking about? Anniversary, and that is an important date that you remember on the same day each year. All right, guys, that is our read aloud for today. I hope that you enjoyed learning about Thomas Jefferson as much as I did. I will talk to you soon.